Alright, so hello everyone and welcome back to Parents Not Allowed, 父母不要听, and I'm your host for tonight, I am Rayson. So, I think everyone has heard the English opening for tonight, and that's your hint that we'll be having a special episode for us. So, joining me today is Esther, and we'll be talking about a topic that might be of interest to the ambitious high school students we have all around Malaysia. Tonight we'll be discussing about Science Olympiads, and who's better to talk about Science Olympiads than the former participants themselves. So with that, let us welcome our representatives from AMISO, which is the Association of the Malaysian Alumni of the International Science Olympiads. Everyone, could you please say hi to our audience, please?
Hello.
Okay, so I think I'll just call the association like AMISO like from now on.
You can call it AMISO. You can call it AMISO.
AMISO. Yeah. Okay. That has been a mouthful. Okay. So let's start with something easy. So we have like 4 representatives that are here with us tonight. So may you all like introduce yourself and like what Olympiads have you been through that allowed you to like join AMISO with Jochin for like introduce yourself, yes, please.
Ladies first.
Hi, my name is Amelia and I joined IJSO, which is International Junior Science Olympiad, back in 2019.
Hello everyone. My name is Arif Ismail bin Ruslan. You can call me Arif. So I joined the International Earth Science Olympiad (IESO) back in 2019, and I came by to AMISO because some people invited me, and I think it's duty calls. I guess we have a responsibility to do.
All right, Hua Zhi.
My name is Hua Zhi. I joined the International Linguistics Olympiad back in 2018, and I also joined the International Math Olympiad and the International Olympiad of Informatics. I joined AMISO because Jochin invited me, and I think it's a great opportunity to spread the news to all Malaysian high schoolers.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, last but not least, Jochin.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Jochin. My full name is Jochin, but most people call me Jochin. So for my past participation in Olympiads, I participated in 2018 is my first Olympiad, IESO, same as Arif. That is where I know him. And then after that, in 2019, I went for International Astronomy Olympiad, IAO. And 2020 was the COVID, so nothing happened. But 2021, I was in the Informatics Olympiad team with Hua Zhi. So that's how I know Hua Zhi. And I know the host too, Rayson, because Rayson was training me for IOA in 2021 as well. So yeah, that's all my Olympiads.
Yeah, so fun fact, we are dropping our aliases for the first time tonight. So people know me as Jie Cai in our usual podcast, but yes, I'm also a trainer and a former participant in the International Olympiad on Astronomy and Astrophysics, IOA, and also is a fourth, soon to be Olympiad participant. Esther, would you like to say what you're going to be participating in soon?
Usually in this podcast I'm known as Mo Sui, but I am a beginner compared to everyone here. So I was supposed to join International Linguistics Olympiad 2021, but then Malaysia dropped out because of the pandemic, so I didn't get to join. I was already in the team. So for this year, I'll be going for Asia Pacific Linguistics Olympiad first before I get to IOL 2022, and also I'm right now a candidate for International Philosophy Olympiad. So that's me.
I see. I think we need a lot of we need some fresh blood in International Philosophy Olympiad, because so far in AMISO there's only one member in Philosophy Olympiad. So you can join AMISO.
Okay, hopefully I'll be part of that soon. Fingers crossed. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Esther. Alright, so done with the introduction. I think some of the high school students out there might be wondering, like, what exactly are the Science Olympiads and what does AMISO has to do with the Science Olympiads? Yes, they are the alumni of the previous Olympiads, but what do they have to do and what are their roles in this big picture? Anyone would like to explain to our audience?
All right, I would love to talk about the Olympiad. Thank you. So the Olympiad, I haven't joined much other than IESO. I've been I only joined 2 Olympiads in my life, the IESO, and I actually joined the MIPO, but I didn't get into the final stage last time. But anyway, the thing about being in a science Olympiad is that I think it's a platform for you to go beyond the science. To of course you learn the basic of sciences, but it's for you to go beyond thing that we learn in school. Because right now, what we learn in school, I'm not saying it's low or anything, but it's what has been standardized for all of our other people in our nation, and that's a good thing. But for us to foster even deeper interest and more innovative approach to scientific knowledge, I think it's very important for people to go into the Sciences Olympiad, where you'll be exposed to the more extreme end of the spectrum, things that are beyond your age and your syllabus. And this is what really makes people more interested and more passionate into learning sciences, because it creates it gives deeper understanding and allows and exposes us to more complex problem in whatever not. For my own experience in the International Earth Science Olympiad, we were exposed to first year degree level of geology. Well, mostly we learn geology as something that is okay, the batu, alright, there's some rock, the building of mountains stuff. But it's more than that. We have to compare and think critically how the spheres interact, whether it's with the ocean, with the atmosphere, and how it relates to the world around us. And I think that's what makes it more beautiful. And that's what the Olympiads are all about, in fostering the future of our nation, where we have people, very talented and very academically competent people, who are able to make a change in the world by going beyond and challenging themselves further than the levels that they usually would have without it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks, Arif. Yeah, I agree. Like, a lot of people think that the Olympiads are just an international competition. Well, they represent much more than that. They represent what their mission is to like foster and to nurture a new generation of people that are interested in the science, technologies, different academic fields. Like maybe even in the recent years, there has been economics and philosophy Olympiads. So yeah, it's a growing field that's ever changing. Okay, Zhe-Qin, would you like to brief us on like what does AMISO do and how does it play a role in all of this?
Okay, thank you, Rayson. Actually, I want to second with Arif, which is his expression is totally correct, and like all the rocks, all those things, because I was part of IESO as well. In fact, this shirt I'm wearing right now is the IESO shirt back then. It makes a very good pajamas lah. 3 years later. Yeah, so for AMISO, it stands for the Association of the Malaysian Alumni of the International Science Olympiad, so AMISO, AMISO. So I actually had this idea back in 2021, in around March, and then we started to get more members in. So it started as a loosely based group, but at the end of 2021, we started to register as a national society under the Registrar of Societies in Malaysia, and we're starting to get more alumni, even though alumni that are over 30-40 years old, and then we start to get sponsorships and all those things, and we start to have projects right now. So why do we do all this? So apart from being an alumni society that helps support the alumni in their career, in their education, in sharing opportunities, we actually have a more long-term vision, which is to let everyone has an equal chance to have access to these Olympiads. Because what personally, not on behalf of AMISO, but personally, what I think of Olympiads they are golden tickets to a different mindset, and also a different education pathway. Because once you have an Olympiad or Olympiad medal, or even the experience itself, it can change your life quite substantially. We can talk about that later, but for AMISO, we want to promote this Olympiad so that everyone has an equal chance on taking part. Every Malaysians out there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Zhe-Qin. I think that's quite a big ambition for AMISO to do, especially as a very young society for itself. Okay, Esther, do you have anything to add? Like, what do you think about like AMISO, like in their mission? Like, what do you think?
Well, first of all, okay, wait, I'm going to like talk about the Olympiads first before I proceed on to AMISO. So for me, because like I participate in lots of Olympiads that I would say is more leaning towards the humanities side, because like linguistics, philosophy, not that I'm not interested in maths or chemistry, but like I got the opportunity for this lah. And I would say that apart from like knowing beyond this, it's also a pathway for people to start prioritizing subjects they think are not useful in the normal sense. People wouldn't think like, oh, philosophy is something useful. They're like, why do you need a philosophy degree? Why do you even need to know philosophy? It's just like people asking questions, you answering them, and it leads to nothing. Like maybe people will argue that say, sciences, like the true science, pure sciences, can lead you to like new innovations, new projects to make the world a better place. But what do philosophy and linguistics do in this world? So I think with all these Olympiads out there that are not pure science and the humanities related ones, they are also like a pathway for people to actually know what goes on behind these subjects. And it's not a legendary thing like people say, oh, philosophers are deep, are old, they are wise. No, actually everyone can do philosophy, and linguistics is not something that teaches you how to speak a new language, rather it's like telling you how the system works. So I think that was what that I would describe it as a very eye-opening experience. And for AMISO, I knew it through Rayson, because like we were thinking about, we actually initially wanted to introduce Olympiads because we also thought that this Olympiad should be introduced to more people, because like as mentioned ago, people need to have more opportunities, and the best place to start is like podcasts, articles, or like communities. So Rayson told me there was actually a society known as AMISO, and when I knew about it, I was like, actually I felt like a sense of hope, because like Malaysia hasn't been a very outstanding country compared to other countries in the Olympiads, but through AMISO, I am hopeful that this will happen one day, Malaysia becoming great. Yay.
So instead of like make America great again, having make Malaysia great again, a motto. Okay, that's nice. All right. Okay, so yeah, as we jump into that, like maybe we can have some like it sounds very far away, I think, to the audience, like what the Olympiads are. And do any one of the former participants here has any special experiences that would like to share that they had in the Olympiads? Like what makes you tick that has this reminiscent memory along your road through the Olympiads? Like any special experiences?
Okay.
Amelia? I think Amelia has something to
I want to add
share.
on to the AMISO thing as well, because I feel like for Olympiads, I feel like the registration process, the selection process is like unknown to a lot of people. I actually wanted to join IBO, which is the Biology Olympiad, and I researched so much and I don't know how to get in. I still don't know how to get in. So I'm very grateful for AMISO. I'll be using your content, thank you. But yeah, from IGS, sorry?
We have I mean, we have an answer to why IBO is not knowable to anyone. We actually have an answer, but we can talk about that soon. Yeah.
So my first Olympiad was the Linguistics Olympiad, and I knew about it from Mr. Suhaimi because he invited everyone from the BMO camp, which was the selection camp for the IMO. So I participated in the first micro and I won. So I was the first batch to IOL, and that time, to be honest, I don't know much about linguistics. So I was just starting to learn about linguistics, like how languages are structured, how languages work, and it's quite fun to know because like I know 3 languages. By learning linguistics, I get to know like the connection between them and how beautiful the languages are. And after IOL, I learned to appreciate all the different languages.
Okay, thank you, Hua Zhi, for the sharing. Okay, we'll talk about the Biology Olympiad things later, but I think let's move on to a more pressing question. So, as just now Amelia said that, yeah, they she didn't know how to participate in the biology Olympiad, and she mentioned about something about being at the right place at the right time to actually get into the preliminary test for the Olympiads in Malaysia. So how did you guys get access to the Olympiads? Like, how do you how did you get the information? And like previously when there wasn't AMISO, how did you get these information? Anyone would like to care to share? Amelia?
Can I go? Because this one is like a really personal, like a story that I wanted to share for a while because it's so complicated.
Okay.
So there was one day my teacher came to class and she was like, "Hey guys, let's join this Ganjil science competition." And no one had no reaction. Everyone was like, "What? Ganjil?" And it sounds kind of funny lah. And then she was like, "It's kangaroo maths competitions, like sibling, like sister competition." So like no one joined. And then no one joined lah. Then they signed up. Then at the last minute, I was like, I don't know, maybe it was just like, wow. Suddenly I was like, I should join. Because I joined kangaroo. So I was like, might as well join Ganjil lah, support all the animals, right? So then I applied. Then I told my teacher, I was like, have you signed up? Then she was like, yeah, we signed up already. Then I was like, oh. Then she said, oh, I can sign you up. So I was like the last participant for Ganjil Science. I was like the last one there. Then we did well. So we did well, we got a medal. Then she told me, oh, you can join this other because you got a medal here, you can join Olympiad somewhere else, and it's called MyJSO. But the thing is, they didn't tell us what MyJSO was for. So I just went not knowing, and I asked my friend who was also going, from my school, he also didn't know. So we went. Then on the day itself, they were like, okay guys, so from here, the top 6 will go to IJSO. And I didn't know what that was. I was like, okay lah, so I just do the exam, right? Then 2 months later, they told us that we're going to IJSO. Then I didn't know what it was still. Then I googled it and I saw the questions. It was so hard. I got a heart attack. I was like, excuse me. And then, yeah, we had training lah, but it was I used to like science a lot, but when I went to IJSO, I realized just how much I didn't know. I thought I was quite okay at science until I went to IJSO, and I think there was a test, right? Out of 100, I got 4. So I was like, oh, I'm not very good. But it was still a really good experience. But I still pause to think what would have happened if I didn't sign up for Ganjil Science, because you'd never know that Ganjil is a way to IJSO. Nothing in the name from Ganjil says it's going to lead you to IJSO. So I feel like Malaysia needs to work on that. Yeah, thank you. That's it.
Yeah, thanks, Amelia. What about Zhejin? You have the most Olympia experience out of the 6 of us here. How did you get access to the Olympiads? How did you get to the know?
I think all of us have our own personal story, like what Amelia said just like. Amelia's story was, actually it resounded quite deep in me, because back in 2018, it was the first time Malaysia is sending a team to Thailand. It's the International Earth Science Olympiad. So I think back in 2018 and 2019 was the age of the new Olympiads. Maybe if we have to categorize eras for this type of Olympiads, like the Malaysians in Olympiads, maybe the late 2010s is the renaissance of Malaysian Olympiads, because we have been doing physics Olympiad and maths Olympiad since the end of the 1990s, but we haven't doing any new Olympiads until the late 2010s. So MyJSO was one of the new Olympiads that Malaysia joined. But IESO itself is not new. IESO itself is founded in the 20s. So Malaysia is lagging behind by 10-20 years. But thankfully, there's this company led by Suhaimi Ramli. Suhaimi Ramli is a IMO alumni itself. He's quite a successful an entrepreneur right now. And he's the boss of Other Education, which handles most of the new Olympiads right now, including Amelia's Ganjil Science, aka lesser known as MyJSO. He also handles Hua Zhi's Micro for Linguistics Olympiad and Arif's IESO. So these are the new Olympiads. People usually know Maths Olympiads, Physics Olympiad, but Linguistics, Junior Science, and Earth Science is quite new. Nobody actually know about it until these recent years when they start doing it. So they sent a letter, a physical letter to our school, and our school, what Amelia happened is the school teachers disseminated the information down to the students. So I signed up, and the fate made me to the first national team of IESO. So yeah, that is when I feel like after IESO I feel like the Olympiad experience is totally unique. Like nobody have ever talked about the Olympiad experience before, and to experience it without knowing that how it's gonna be, it's a life-changing experience. So that's how I started looking actively to the other Olympiads. So that's how I ended up in IAO and IOI and IOAA and I4I. All these I4, IOA, IOI, they are different organizers. Like it's not the same organizer. So it's scattered between all these different organizers, and we hope that through AMISO we can provide a centralized platform so to showcase all the different Olympiad out there and to unite all the alumni, so that if there's a Malaysian student that is willing to participate, they have even a slight hope of wanting to represent a country, they can just come to the website and look for any Olympiad they want to join, and we can guide them, and then they can even reach out to the alumni here, like Hua Zhi can maybe teach someone interested in the informatics. So yeah, that's how I came to be.
Okay, thanks, Zhe. Yeah, I think so. I think that like with the help of AMISO, maybe we really can increase the participation and even the performance of Malaysia in the International Science Olympiads. Okay, so with this, I think there's a very pressing question to ask. Like, how is Malaysia's performance in the Olympiads? Like, are the results satisfactory at this stage? And maybe if you think it is not that satisfactory, what are the missing pieces do you guys think that is critical to increase Malaysia's performance in the Olympiads? Maybe Arif, like, do you have any ideas on this?
All right. The thing is, I can't speak for all Olympiads because all Olympiads are unique to one another. So the only thing I can speak about is for the only one I've joined, IESO. So I think the first problem coming from Malaysian candidates is that, well, I don't want to blame it on time, but I think I can blame it on time, because a large number of our students join it usually in their late years, usually when they have enough like knowledge or even courage to even join an Olympiad is usually in their close to SPM years, their Form 4s and their Form 5s. And it is during this stage, despite them having the highest capability to do it, it is also at this stage that they're very busy with the examinations and stuff. So that stops them from actually focusing on the Olympiad itself, number one. Number two, of course, the pressure, because a large number of Malaysians just think of Olympiad as, oh, it's just another competition. You can put it sideways. You don't really have to study for it. If you win, you win. If you win, then Gwenchana, Daijobu desu ka? Well, I mean that to an extent that's a good thing. But on another spectrum, we can see that this might actually deter some of Malaysia's performance later. But believe it or not, from asking around the mentors in IESO, I shouldn't do that, but I did. Apparently, examinations are not the worst part of the Olympiad, but rather for IESO, we lack so much in the practical work, in the sense that in IESO we have field work. We need to look at a strata of rocks, we need to do experiment, we need to do field work, and sometimes we need to just hitch up a telescope and look at the stars and stuff. So it is these practical skills that is very lacking among the Malaysians, because number one, a large number of us don't have money or funds to do the equipment, so we have to learn it by ourselves. And because of that, we have to rely on our mentors, which are sometimes university lecturers. They are busy, and we can't drill ourselves every single day or week due to the unavailability of these equipments. So I think that's what's very lacking among Malaysian candidates. We don't have access to the facilities needed for us to train our practical work and the critical thinking skill and evaluation. And I think that's what deters Malaysian from getting into greater heights in Olympiads. But personally speaking, I think it's getting better, but it's slowly getting better, but there's more work to be done.
Yeah, thanks, Arif. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. Like, especially when you talk about the practical skills, there's also a very big part that a lot of the science Olympiads, like especially the newborn ones, are actually not that integrated into the Malaysian syllabus. Like we have physics, we have chemistry, we have biology, but we have most of the high school students here don't even know what earth science talks about. We don't know what astronomy talks about. No one cares about philosophy, just like what Esther said. So Esther, I think you have the most experience in the and not the most experience, but you are going to participate in like two of the most, how can I put this, least cared about Olympiads. Like philosophy and linguistics, like what are you thinking? or maybe like what do you think? Like how does the education system in Malaysia plays a role in all of this, and how is it like, let me find a word for this. How is it inhibiting the growth of this sector? Like, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I have to agree that linguistics and philosophy, they are like very mysterious Olympiad. Even I didn't know like what am I going to do in this, and I feel like, okay, first of all, I don't think I can speak on a very objective sense for linguistics, because I personally am a person who is very interested in languages, and like in every single language I'm interested in them. I want to learn them someday, and definitely that led me to like be interested in knowing how all these languages work. But in a general sense, I think what computational linguistics actually intends is like it is going to like train your mind, because you solve problems by guessing how these languages work. You don't have to know how it works, but you have to like make a whole analysis of it, and like according to what rules or like information you are given, and proceed on with this. But then if you look back to the Malaysian education system, it is quite like a spoon-feed system. They don't encourage that much on guessing. They want you to have a basic knowledge, and then they give you some questions, and they let you like proceed on with this basic knowledge, and they call it HOTS. I don't think like the questions right now are hot. I think if you go do computational linguistics, you are going to know what is the real high order thinking skills, because honestly, there's a very great difference. And for philosophy, I joined philosophy mainly because like I was curious, like what do philosophy people do, and like anyone out there who is interested in doing philosophy, definitely you can try out like joining Malaysian Philosophy Olympiad first, because they provide workshops which teach you about what philosophy means. And for the Malaysian education system, first of all, they also don't encourage reading that much, because like you learn through school, right? You don't do that much out of school reading. And even if you do, not many people are going to read philosophy books. I'm trying to read one. I have read it for half a year. I'm still like in chapter 1. It is hard to read philosophy books by yourself, especially if you are not like a person with very much self-discipline. So definitely you need these Olympiads, like the workshops they give you, or even like mentors who will train you later on if you become a true candidate for the Olympiads. They will like teach you through how they learned it, and that is actually a way more useful way than to like try to figure it out yourself, or like through reading, which I have to emphasize again, the Malaysian education system is not helping.
Okay, thank you, Esther, for the sharing. Okay, I think this also let us go to something, because like what we just now, after what we have just said, I think a lot of people who have some side interests like beyond the syllabus, that is like interested in economics, interested in astronomy, interested in earth science, may now really like to know like how to participate in the Olympiads. Of course, that's the part of what AMISO does, is to like actually promote it and to share information. But what about getting more people to know that there is this kind of things? So the biggest problem is not like how to get the interested students involved, because with AMISO, I think we are going to do that one step at a time. But what about getting letting people gain interest in these subjects? I think that should also be a part of what we are doing, right? Because like we should tell people that what education is not just what you learn in school. What science is not just what you learn in school. Is there are also these other kinds of side things that you can explore. Like, what do you think like AMISO can do to actually promote this? Like getting people to recognize or to realize that there are much more than that than the school syllabus. Anyone likes to give their 2 cents?
I think a lot of the times these students are actually motivated students. Like if you ask Arif and you ask Amelia, they are motivated students. They are curious in heart, and like most students, most students out there, if they have a curious mind, if they're willing to learn, and they'll be good material to be Olympiad representatives. So I think that it's actually the system that we are in, whether our system cultivates curiosity or not, because this is something in the roots of the education system, and it will be a very hard problem for AMISO to tackle, because I think this is a very hard problem to a very hard question, Rayson, you put on it. But yeah.
If I may, this is just a personal opinion, but I think one of the reasons why a large number of students are either they're not even joining the Olympiads in the first place despite knowing, number one, or number two, even if they're joining but they don't really commit to it, because I think that our students lack the support and confidence to even join in, because in the sense that they know what they're signing up for is way beyond their syllabus. I mean, some of the Olympiads like my ASO, they provided reading materials and stuff, but trust me, reading that, you won't understand one thing. I tried, you won't understand one thing, and that's that's what makes it so hard when we first started joining that, because we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know what's happening, and then suddenly we're thrown into a streams of Mount-Hardened question, and I think that's what scares most students. So this is what I did, was that I managed to increase the participation from my school from only 5 people joining to 30 people joining in 2 years' time by tutoring. After I returned from Korea and stuff, I started tutoring my juniors on what to do in IASO and stuff. I mean, none of them got in at the end, but the thing is that the very idea that there is a support and someone is there to teach them can actually increase their confidence to joining them, and I think that's what that's one thing that we can do to help more Malaysians to join this.
I think that I totally agree with Arif, because this is one of the reasons why we founded AMISO, because we saw that the power of alumni can be very very influential in terms of the local community, like how Arif increased his participation in his school. So yeah.
Actually, me too. I feel like listening to like Arif, Jachin, Esther, Hua Zhi, and everybody, like Rayson as well, like all of you talking about your experiences, I'm like inspired to join, even though I'm probably not eligible anymore. But I'm like, my gosh, I feel it was so cool. Let me join. And like, it's like when I hear you guys talk about it, so I think if AMISO can have people talk about their experiences, it's like a lot more interesting, like, because when you talked about like how you guys look at telescopes and look at rocks, that was pretty nice. I was like, that's actually interesting. I never knew what earth science does. I'm sorry, I'm like part of the majority that don't know, but now I know, and I think that's really cool. And I feel like if students could know from you guys, I think they would have a really good, like, they would.
Yeah, I think like Rayson, like Amelia actually answered the problem you asked me just now. How do we get people interested in these Olympiads? Is to let the alumni share their wholesome, amazing experiences outside the country.
Yeah, I think that's actually quite it. I think the biggest thing we can do is like to tune down the level of what people think Olympiads are and make it actually more approachable to high school students. Talking about experiences or making tutoring sessions, tuning down the level and make it more general public. Make it a little more general public thing, and not put it like, oh, this is a very very high thing up on the shrine and that we can't approach it, only those smart enough can do so. No, I think we should make it a little bit more approachable. Yeah, I think that's the good way to put it. Yeah. So yeah, I think that's quite nice. And I want to talk about something more, because I think a lot of you also mentioned previously that there's a lot of problems with the school system and what people think about Olympiads. Like I also mentioned it just now. So there are always some controversy on these kind of competition things that involve students and academics. So one of the biggest problem is like people think that some of the selections for Olympiads might not be actually very fair, or do you think that the opportunities are equal to all participants? Because some may have the impression that some Olympiads have some quota for maybe racially or school-wise or whatever. Like, what do you think about it? Is it really a thing in Olympiads? Yeah. Anyone would like to give their 2 cents?
Sorry, I'm talking again. Basically, there are 6 of people in my team, and there are 5 boys and 1 girl. I actually asked the people, like I asked our teachers, like the coaches bringing us there. I asked them, "Am I only here because you guys want a girl?" And I asked them I actually asked them, and they were like, "What do you mean?" Because ironically, the year before us, the team also had 5 boys, 1 girl. So I was so convinced that they just want 1 girl and they put like the 5 top boys and the top 1 girl. But they told me no. They told me it's just a coincidence and it's a fair. Everyone has the same chance. And they told me if a boy was better than me, there would be 6 boys and no girl. So I think it's quite fair lah. I had that question also. I asked them.
I think that's a very great question because, like, Olympiad organizers, like those who are responsible of Olympiad organizers, they need to balance between absolute meritocracy, like people who do good, and to handle affirmative action and like underrepresentation of certain ethnic groups and what Amelia said, the gender. So, like for example, for IOI, there's no such quota. But if you see like throughout the ages, there's mostly boys lah. I don't think there's any girl. I think only like 1 or 2 years as girl. Hua Zhi, correct me if I'm wrong. There's only there's mostly boys. Even the second or the third rounds, you can see all the participants, the qualifiers are all male. So this is a problem. Like what I mean to say, like meritocracy and underrepresentation.
Yeah, Hua Zhi, what do you have to add? Yeah.
In IMO, I don't know if this is right or wrong, and every single year except for the year I'm in, there was always a non-Chinese. I'm not complaining. I think it's fair, I guess.
It's a very hard question.
Yes. So, I think I have to agree with Zhe Qin. We can't just choose the top 6. Sometimes we have to have a quota for those underrepresented groups. Maybe I'm not sure, but yeah, I think if that year they decided to save a space for non-Chinese too, I might not have been in the IMO team that year.
Quite a new perspective. Arif, what about you?
I can't really say whether or not it happens or not, because I have my own suspicion. Because I'm actually suspicious how I got in, because during Jichin time there's like a mix between Malay and Chinese, and then suddenly during our time there's also a mix between Malay and Chinese. So I'm a bit suspicious of that. But I assume it didn't happen, because by the time we get to ISO, almost everyone got medals. So I think that's not really the case, because it just shows that everyone is probably qualified to get there in the first place, hopefully. But even if it does happen, even in the case that it does happen, I do wish that they won't sacrifice quality over racial equality. And even if they do it, I think it's less because of bias, but more because of we want a multitude of diversity in the representation of our team. And I think that's fine as long as they don't sacrifice quality.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like back in 2018, during what Arif described of my team, we had one Chinese, 1 Malay, 1 Indian, and 1 from Borneo, like the other island that everyone forgets about. So yeah, we won 3 medals as well. So like the Malay, the Bornean, the Chinese, they all won medals. So it depends on how the organizers balance meritocracy and handles underrepresentation.
Yeah, I think Hua Zhi has something to add.
So,
Hi, Hua Zhi.
In IMO, usually that Malay who is in the team, they get 0 or 3 points out of 42 points. So I'm not sure. They might be in the top 6. I'm just saying. But there were some years that they did really well too. There was once a girl from Borneo. I'm not sure if she was from Sabah of Sarawak. I think she got a silver medal, and she was really good.
Yeah, so I think sometimes the representation has a mix of a lot of factors, I think. And I think I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions on this. We'll leave this to after the podcast, and we can also expand on this. I actually has a lot of thoughts on it. But let's move on. Okay, there's also something that we talked about just now, that how Olympiads seem very up on the shrine to a lot of people, and even some of the teachers in the school may also discourage some of the students to participate in Olympiad because they think they might be promoting some kind of elitism. So maybe people think, oh, the 6 people who are on this podcast today are all these smart kids in school. What about is this really true? Are we actually promoting elitism, or is this kind of some kind of destructive competition? What do you guys think about these kind of comments? Let's put this a bit more objectively, all right? Yeah. Anyone has any ideas?
I think it depends where you are in the rank of, let's say you go to a competition and let's say you're representing China, then obviously I feel like there'll be a lot of competition between China and those from Vietnam, those who you look at them, you know they're here for gold, they're hungry for gold, they're fighting. And I feel like for me, I can talk about personal experience. For me, I went in with zero hope. I was like, let's just have fun. So when I went, I tried to make a lot of friends. I tried to have a good time. I did get a medal, which was so surprising. I got a bronze. I thought they did it out of pity, but they gave me a bronze, which was really nice. But we had a good time, and I met so many people of different countries, and I found out that in different countries they have different selection methods. So I feel like in China, obviously it's very rigorous. I talked to one of my friends from China, and they went to many tests, and then in the end they got a nice China jacket to represent China. They have much nicer attire than us to be fair. Malaysia had zero attire. But in my friends from Kenya, they were all from the same school, and they were joining IJSO as a extracurricular activity. So it was not much of competition. They were going for a good experience, and I think so was I, so we clicked quite well. And making friends from different countries was something really nice for me, and I don't think in my case that it propagated any elitism there. But I feel like if you were in the top ranks fighting for a goal, then I feel like it definitely would. Or if you're fighting against your team members, I wasn't, because I looked at myself, I was like, I'm the worst, so I wasn't. But if you are, then I suppose that would also propagate elitism. About us being put on a pedestal, I feel like sometimes it seems daunting from the outside, because when you look at the past year papers, you're like, excuse me, what? Philosophy, I don't understand philosophy as it is. Looking at past year papers, I can't imagine. I feel like when you don't know what the subject's about, you feel very daunted, and that's why people put you on a pedestal. But I feel like with AMISO, when you're letting more people know about it, and you, what Arif said, giving people support, coaching, that's really good. And you bring down, close the gap between those who have went and those who are going with those who want to go. I think that's really good, and that would sort of bring the gap closer and not propagate elitism. Yes, because it shouldn't, because everyone should have a chance, and everyone shouldn't be afraid of going. Yeah. Okay.
All right, thanks, Amelia. Esther, you are the only one here who hasn't actually really participated, so you might have an outsider perspective on this question. What do you think?
Well, okay, I actually thought of 2 points, but before I'm going to discuss it, I hope you guys don't mind if I ask you all, are you guys considered a top achiever in your school? Because back to the question, which Rayson raised out, was people think that Olympiads are only for the smart kids. So my first question is, are you guys considered the smart kids in your school?
Must you be honest? Yes, right?
Yes.
Honestly,
Okay,
yeah.
Amelia is. What about Jachin?
To be honest, also yes.
Okay.
A top achiever, yes, but smart kid, I have something to add after what you said. Yeah.
Okay, so top achiever. Okay. What about Hua Zhi?
For me, yes too. I'm not the best at grades,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
But relatively okay, it's at a high
Yes.
percentile. Okay, and I know for a fact Rayson is also. So for me personally, I don't think it's it's not Olympiads only for the smart kids, but there might be 2 reasons behind it. The first one being, people who are, okay, I won't say smart lah, okay, everyone has different definition of smart. I'm just going to say kids who have good grades. The reason why some kids have good grades, maybe some of them are like really hardworking in their studies, but there's another bigger reason is like they already know the techniques of learning, how learning actually works, and they have the curiosity to learn new things, and that is what propels them to keep studying for tests, and in conclusion, they get good grades. So I think this is quite a key quality for people who would want to join Olympiads, which is like you have to have the curiosity to learn. You can't go to Olympiads like thinking, I want to get a medal, and then you do that all the time. It's going to like burn you out. So that might be one of the reasons why like kids going to Olympiads are also coincidentally kids who have good grades. And the second reason might be because, you know, if we come back to the question of how word of these Olympiads spread, like most people here, you guys heard it through your school, right? Like people contacted your school and you were interested in it, so you participated. But we have to think of it from the other's perspective, which is like kids without good grades, they are already worrying about their academic achievements in school, and they wouldn't want to contribute the extra time to take up Olympiads because they think like, oh, it's not useful for me. I would rather first improve my grades. And also you have to like take in parental consideration. They're like, you can't even study well, you still want to go Olympiad. So maybe things like this happen, and that is why like this deters kids with not that good grades from participating in Olympiads. But in general, I don't think kids should need to have good grades in order to enter Olympiads. Well, you can't have good grades in linguistics and philosophy too, so like if you guys still think that you need good grades, maybe you can start from here, honestly. You don't have to, no one here has prerequisites on linguistics and philosophy. Everyone is starting on equal ground. So that is what I would say about the whole thing.
I totally agree with Esther actually. So like even in IOI, grades doesn't really have a correlation with the teammates we have. Like I know one of our teammates he's totally good in IOI. He got a bronze medal in IOI, but his grade isn't actually that good. But he has very good interest in informatics. And the thing is that if informatics is in the school syllabus, he's definitely gonna ace it. But it's not in the school curriculum. The same goes for philosophy and linguistics and of science, astronomy, astrophysics, and all those things. So like what you say, it doesn't need to be a smart kid. Like even for myself, like for informatics, I got like last place in 2019 when I got 0 marks in the 2019 selection out of I think 500, 0 out of 500 in 2019. But I still keep like learning. I learn from my mistakes. Like that year I also like train for months and I get that 0. Like I know I messed up, but yeah, like throughout the years, through 2020, 2021, people can learn from that. So I don't think it's Olympiads is for smart kids. It's for kids who want to try out new things, who want to learn, and it's not for people to show off their IQ or their how clever they are, but how they can really persevere when no one else wants to do it.
I think most of us we train for years, right, at least. Because I trained for 3 years before entering IMO, and for the 2 or 3 years I didn't enter. I was really sad, and I wanted to give up, but I didn't because it's my passion, mathematics. So I think we have to keep trying if want to get to the Science Olympiads.
Like if you look at Hua Zhi, like one of the most accomplished Malaysian Olympiad out there, he started Olympiad since 12 years old, and he's been doing it for 6 years to reach that level of greatness. So it's not about smart or IQ actually. It's about how you persevere and how determined you are to learn new things.
And he got a gold at his 7th try at IMO.
Yeah, so I think that idiom really sticks, right? So true. When you don't things don't work out, try again, right? Yeah. So maybe really people can start actually considering Olympiads as an extracurricular approach rather than a very elitism kind of thinking. Like it's not just that. There's a lot more to it. I think
It's not elitism.
I think everyone here agree. All right, so maybe one last problem before we end the podcast. So, two more problems maybe. This is the one last serious one. Okay, so most of the Olympiads, they actually have a goal or a mission to actually promote students to actually pursue STEM or pursue whatever field they are targeting for, linguistics, philosophy, whatever. So they think this is a good way to actually promote these students to actually pursue STEM or pursue these fields in the future during their college levels, etc. Do you think it's actually a good way? Is it an accessible way? How has it changed you? Do you really have your career prospects changed after participating in Olympiads? Like, what are your stories?
I went to IGSO, and it's not as fancy as IPO, IESO, IMO, but so basically all we do is biochem physics, which is what we have to do anyway. But I feel like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life before. That sounds so deep. But when I went to IGSO, I feel like no one's really talked about this, but did anyone mention that when you represent your country, it's free? Like you go to the competition for free, by the way, guys. You free, right? So I feel like we should mention that. And it's not just exam. It's actually really fun. You get to go on they bring you to museums, they bring you to science centers, they bring you, and it's actually a really, really nice experience. I feel like we have not talked about this, but we should. It's a very nice experience, and they took us to a lot of places like labs, and I feel like that really made me want to pursue science. Like at first, when you see scientists working in labs, you're like, how can that be interesting? You just touch a Bunsen burner the whole day. But I found that so fun, and being in this environment where everyone found it fun as well, I was like, my gosh, this is my career. And I know it sounds very exaggerated, but when you see everyone all dressed in the lab coats, the free lab coats, by the way, they give it to us for free, and you go there, and it's a very it makes you want to be part of that community for a very long time. And I know it's kind of an illusion because obviously the Olympiads only there for a week, and then after you say bye bye and then you leave that community. But when you go in that, but you have that false hope that, not false, but when you have that hope that when you go into the field, you get that community again. So that, it helped me. I'm not sure if it helps everyone else, but it helped me find my passion for science.
Yeah, I think that's true. The community is always a very friendly place, and it actually really the connections that you make in Olympiads actually stay for a long time. Also, it really helps people get in touch with the community and even want to be a part of it. What about the others? Arif, what do you think?
First of all, I totally agree with what Amelia described. It was so being in an Olympiad was so much fun. Even from the practice, we had to travel around Pahang doing field work in Raup, in Genting Sempah, and they dropped me off to school afterward. But that happened. And then in Korea, we have looked at freshly excavated dinosaur fossils. We did experiment. We randomly look at Jupiter for no reason, and among other stuffs. And the best part about that last Olympiad was that we met a lot of people, and that is really fun, leading a team of international students doing a field work. But other than that, as for when we talk about career pathway, I think IESO has greatly affected my career pathway. I'm not saying I actually had I had planned to jump into geology for a long time, ever since I was for a long time. But being in IESO and my ESO actually sort of made me really want to go there. But at the end, I wasn't able to get into that degree for geology because some circumstances did not allow me to. But I have to say, having an Olympiad medal itself and having the experience do help you a lot in life. It makes, for example, currently I'm taking IB. We have a lot of papers and research to do, and the experimentation skills that I've learned before really help me to, it's not easy, but it really helps me go faster in doing my coursework. And also, the experience that I have also helped me write my personal statement and get admitted to some UK universities and hopefully US universities as well. So even by having the experience, even if you didn't win anything, that experience will throttle you to a new heights. It allows you to make your life easier, even if it's not in a related field. And I think that's very beautiful. That's very beautiful that people have to understand that being in an Olympiad isn't just about the knowledge that you gain, but it's also about the skills that you learn and how it helps you so much later in life, even if you did not exactly get gold medal.
So in IOL was the only one that I get to go because IMO and IOI, we both did it in Malaysia. So in 2018 I went there and I got to know a lot of friends, and we went to all the churches in Czech. There were just 4, so it's not that much, but all the churches in Czech. And I got to know some friends from Poland. So that time, I think he was just a couple of rooms beside my room. So I got to know him, but I didn't know like how good he was, and later I found out that he was number 1. And I didn't win anything that year, but I was like so shocked. And I had a picture with him. I was so shocked. And when I came back from Malaysia, I got a postcard from India, and I got this gift. It's a painting on, I'm not sure what this is, and it's a painting of mountains in Kazakhstan from a Kazakhstan friend that I knew from the IOL. And I think making friends are the best part in the Olympiads, and even for IMO, I got to know a lot of friends from the training sessions, BMO camp, and yeah, it's really fun.
Justin, I think you also would like to share something, right?
Yeah, I mean, for career pathways, I've been to Astronomy and Astrophysics Olympiad. I've been to Earth Science Olympiad. I've been to Informatics Olympiad. I don't think I will pursue astrophysics as a career. It's very tempting to do so, but I still don't have the courage to jump into that field. But like what Arif said, this Olympiads is not just about the knowledge, but about the problem solving skills. Like one of the reasons why I can do so many Olympiads is because they actually share the same theme, which is problem solving. And it's a very important thing. Like once you can do one Olympiad, you just use the same problem solving skills but swap in the knowledge. You just swap geology with astronomy, swap astronomy with coding and computer science. You attack the problem. That's it. And you can swap it with your life, like your like what you need to do to your life, your finance, your how you your education pathway. You can apply problem solving in your real life. So yeah, that's what I want to add. Yeah.
In all the Olympiads, I think we had talks from scientists and those professors from different universities, and we can have Q&A sessions with them, and we can learn from them.
Okay, thanks everyone for all the sharing. I think it's a very eye-opening experience for all the former Olympiad students and maybe those who will be in the future. Like, any last words, any last encouragement to the students out there who are enthusiastic and have a passion to maybe also join in the Olympiad in the future? Do you have any words for them? Yeah, Justin.
Okay, like back when I first do the first round, my year, so 2018, I never thought that I would get in. I never thought how Olympiad would change my life. I never thought I would like do 4 Olympiads in the next 4 years. So just try it, just register, and you see how it will bring you. So maybe it will change your life. And even if it doesn't, you will have a great experience.
I have one. That was amazing. Oh, sorry. Were you gonna talk? I'm so sorry. Okay, so when I went to my GSO, I went onto that, and everyone was like using their SPM books, and I was in year 9. I was in Form 3. I had nothing. I just some paper. Anyway, so when I went, I felt really scared. I was like, everyone's so intimidating. I didn't know what I was fighting for, but I was like, everyone's gonna do amazingly. I'm gonna do terrible, and I got in. So that was. I feel like no matter how you feel, maybe if you feel a bit scared, intimidated by other people, because other people will sometimes they will like bring their big books in their bag and then they will like intimidate you, but don't feel like that because you never know your potential. And I'm not saying that I have a lot of potential, but I'm saying that you never know yours. No, I'm like actually I feel like everyone has a gift in something, and just because you maybe you don't think you can do well doesn't mean that you can't. I feel like sometimes people doubt themselves before they even try. So I feel like if you have a passion and if you just want to, I feel like you should definitely give it a go because you never know. And alumni and a lot of people will be supporting you on the way. So yes, all the best, whoever is wanting to try.
Both of them. And when I first participated in BMO, I didn't know that I was going to 3 Olympiads too. And I have a friend, he's quite interested in astronomy, but he didn't want to try because he was scared and he thought that there were kids smarter than him. And so if that friend, you're hearing this, I think you should go for it. And to everyone who's interested too, don't be scared. Like I wasn't scared when I participated in micro. I had no knowledge on linguistics and I got in. So yes, just go try.
Just a little bit. As everyone have mentioned earlier, the experience of going into an Olympiad, even if you don't get it, is so valuable. It will change your life forever, even if you don't get into the final stage. I mean, the first and second time I joined my ESO and I didn't get in, it changed my life because even though I didn't get in, I met so many people who taught me things, who showed me new perspective, and we had a very good discussion about nature of earth science. And then when I joined MIPO, Philosophy Olympiad last year, my goodness, I learned so much there. All of my initial thoughts about philosophy was wrong. At first I thought, because there were initial thoughts that philosophy is far from Islam or something, and apparently it's not. It's not that far. And you learn a lot. And that is something that is very valuable inside of Olympiad. So what I would say is that do not be scared, no matter what qualms or what presumption that you have about any of these Olympiads. Because by having fear, you are blocking yourself from crossing the threshold to the next level. So there's a saying that I like to say, it's not a matter of can or can't. Some things in life you just do. So please do not be scared and keep trying to push your limit. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and thanks to all the former participants for joining me tonight in 父母不要听 here, for the amazing sharing to all those high school students out there who might be enthusiastic to join Olympiads, or maybe just curious about what the Olympiads are, and maybe just curious about all the different fields of science that are out there. Yeah, so, and I also think that AMISO would do a very good job like in promoting Olympiads and getting more people involved, making it more accessible to all Malaysians out there. And if you are really interested in what they are doing and how to reach the Olympiads, you can visit them on their website at amiso.my, amiso.my, and be involved, and maybe you'll be one of the members of the alumni in AMISO one day. Alright, thanks everyone for tuning in. I am Jie Cai, and thank you. Good night.